Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor and I am your host, and I am not God. Obviously, I am not an expert. I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. We're going to talk about victim mentality, and this is a loaded conversation and a nuanced conversation, like most of the things we tackle here. So the fact that we try to tackle these topics in under 10 minutes is kind of remarkable, but who has longer than 10 minutes to listen to me talk? Who has longer than 10 minutes to sit and listen to anything, So we're going to do it quick and hopefully in a digestible way. There is a difference between being an actual victim to a situation or to someone or to something and victim mentality, which is when you stay trapped in a place of no accountability, entitlement, and blame and resentment and all of those things. And that's what I am referring to here. When you're an actual victim to something, it actually can stagnate and become a victim mentality and ruin your life. And I think it's not our fault. Obviously, when our child dies, it's not our fault when someone abuses us. It's not our fault when an institution fails us or harms us. Those are all real life examples from my life, by the way. So I really do get it. That's not my fault that those things happened to me. However, I do have responsibility, I believe. If I want to be happy, if I want to be okay, I do have a responsibility to do what I need to do to process, heal, and move through those things. The first big lesson I had with victim mentality, I found myself in a place of resentment, anger, blame, taking zero accountability for my choices, and that was toward my religion. The first time I left religion was because of this, because I was harmed by that religion. And instead of processing that and taking accountability and working through it, it really stagnated and turned into something that was trapping me in misery. And it took an atheist speaking very directly to me, telling me to own my choices. And it didn't matter why I had made these choices. It didn't matter if the religion is what made me make these choices. It didn't matter if that leader treated me bad. It mattered and I could heal from it. But I was in a place where I was blaming every single thing in my life on the church. Every single thing. And I was miserable and I was in a really bad place and I hated myself and I hated my life. And that is one of the reasons that I left. And that was my first experience of taking hard accountability and saying, okay, so this thing happened and that's not my fault, but what am I going to do with it? Because that's where my responsibility lies. And that's when it's my turn to take accountability and move forward. I want to be very clear that when you are an actual victim, and if it happened yesterday, I'm not saying pull it together and take accountability for your life. Move through it. What are you doing? You're responsible for your healing. Get over it. That's not what I'm saying. And I want to be very clear about that. But in these situations, I trust you and I've come to trust myself of involving God to help me know when is it my time to take accountability? Where is my accountability in it? When is it time to start moving through it? When is it time to tackle certain things? That's a decision I try to make partnered with God, and I try to apply to my whole life. And so when we look at our lives, I think one of the most exciting and helpful places to invite God in is in this question of where's my accountability? The thing is, Jesus Christ is actually what makes accountability not so scary. Because if you believe in Christ and you believe in his partnership and in his making you whole and being able to recover from mistakes, that partnership, that belief is actually what makes accountability not scary. Because even when I'm wrong and even when I do the wrong thing and even when I'm broken and even when I'm hurt and even when I am an actual victim, if I believe a partnership in Christ can heal me and can make me whole, it's not so scary anymore to own my choices and to take accountability. And so if you're in a place with your faith where you find yourself blaming God or a religion or a belief system for a lot of things, invite God into that conversation. Invite God into navigating that and look at what parts of this were unjust and undeserved and what parts of this am I not taking accountability in. And the freedom and the progress that will come from being able to look at the situation. Maybe you were really hurt by religion. I believe you, by the way, and I'm not dismissing that. But if you really want to heal that and move through it, and I'm not saying move through it to come back to that religion or come back to faith, that's not my agenda here. But if you want to move through that wound and move through that hurt, invite God into the conversation to see which parts do you want to invite Christ in to heal? Which parts do you want to understand really were just unjust? Where were you a victim? But then also, where can you take accountability? And as we do this, freedom increases. Accountability brings freedom because we're not held captive by our mistakes anymore. I am so grateful for the woman who had the hard conversation with me that said, okay, your religion made you do X, Y, and Z, but these are your choices. Take responsibility for them. What are you going to do now? It changed my life. It changed the whole trajectory of my life. Ask God to help you see where you can be more accountable and what choices and behaviors you can shift to get yourself where you want to be. And when you do that, partnered with Christ, it's not as scary and it's not as painful because you know your worth. Your worth is unchangeable. Even when you make the wrong choice, even when you do the wrong thing, your worth is fixed. So partner with Christ to become whole and to work through this and to move through it and to make different choices, to apologize, to forgive, to seek restitution, to make a different choice going forward, to repair, to heal, to move through it. I think that's key. Love you so much. Bye.